What's going on YouTube, man? It's your boy Big Pain back with another video, man. Before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. As you can see in the title, a lot of y'all probably confused, and just wondering, like, what do I mean that the Eagles season could be another disaster? Well, before we get into it, I just would like to have everybody remember the additions that we had this offseason with Darius Slay, with the replacing a key piece in our defense and Malcolm Jenkins, and with Kayvon Wallace, a rookie from Clemson, Will Parks, Jalen Mills. I would also like everybody to remember that we lost certain guys, on offense with Brandon Brooks. We lost Jordan Howard. And with the receiver position, it will look different. And we picked up a backup quarterback as well. Okay, so let's get into it. I know a lot of y'all probably just thinking I'm here not being optimistic, but in actuality, I actually am. So what do I mean that this Eagles season could be a disaster? Well, we could, deal with injuries again. I'm not trying to jinx it, and I would not want that to happen, but it could happen. You got to look at the roster, how it's set up. Deshaun Jackson, he hasn't finished the season in a long time. Alshon Jeffrey is an older receiver, and we rely on him. And Marquise Goodwin, he's on the bench too. He's an older receiver. Well, not old, but he's older, right? And it could go south if I'm being realistic. It can go south, whereas though, Alshon Jeffrey comes back, goes down. God forbid Deshaun Jackson goes down. And the season could be a disaster on an injury note again. But here's the thing, I'm not worried at all. The way our roster is set up, we've picked up so many athletes, and if the season becomes a disaster with injuries again, an Eagles fan shouldn't be worried. They prepare for this like no other. It's like you live in a place where it's hurricanes at, and a hurricane comes every year. Hurricane season comes around, you got to get yourself together. It's either you leave or you stay there, and you get your stuff, you get the stuff that you need. You get yourself a generator, you get yourself supplies, gasoline. It's the same thing for football teams, man. They preparing for the worst. That's how you adjust when things go south. They preparing for the worst. The Eagles will not get caught without having a deep threat, speed on both sides ever again. It's not happening. They learn from their mistakes, and that goes to show that we have a great coaching staff, a great owner, and a great GM. You got to look at it from this angle, right? Our problem last year was that we didn't have any speed, and nobody that could stretch the field downfield. And our best deep threat at wide receiver was most likely throughout the season was Nelson Aguilar, but he wasn't clutch. He had butterfingers. Just call a spade a spade. He was unreliable, and he probably lost Carson Wentz's trust after a while, right? And you look at it, Deshaun Jackson, Marquise Goodwin isn't like the route runner that Deshaun Jackson is, but if he had to fill in for him, he could, right? Alshon Jeffrey, who plays similar to him on our team the most, Arcega-Whiteside, a second rounder. You look at Jalen Reagor, our first round pick, he's going to start. They might try to ease him in, but eventually he's going to start. You look at guys like Quez Watkins, and you look at all this speed that they gather. They picked up guys to be able to fit in our system, our scheme, and they put guys in position to be great. We got a big arm QB, and they gave him some speed, right? And I look down our roster, and I'm like, wow, they really just got a bunch of players that are athletes, right? You look at a lot of people forget who we picked up. Now I'm going to defense. I don't know if his name's Gerard Avery, but look him up. We traded the 4th rounder for him. That's not a low pick. That's not a super high pick, but that's not a low pick. Last season, we traded a 4th rounder for him. You look at him. He's backing up Brandon Graham, who's an older defensive end. And you look at his 40 time, he ran a 4.59. That's ridiculous for a DN. 4.59. they surrounded. A lot of people was looking at Jadeveon Clowney because, you know, he's actually a fast defensive end. But look at the guys we picked up. I'm not saying that he's as strong as Jadeveon Clowney, but he's definitely fast. And you got to look from this angle, right? He's used to playing linebacker. Now he's going to be a straight stand-up pass rusher. Like, this is going to be a big addition to our rotational front. In addition to that, you look at the linebacker we picked up, Davion Taylor, yo. Straight athlete, running 4.39, playing linebacker, and he not afraid of contact. He will tackle, he will spare you, slam you, earth you, whatever you want to call it. That's like, he can do that. A lot of people like to bring up the safety that we lost, strong safety, you know, most likely an Eagles Hall of Famer, retired number, Michael Jenkins. You know, it's a loss for leadership, but on the field, you know, one thing I like to say is that he wasn't really a coverage safety to me. He was more of a box safety. Like, he could play coverage, but, you know, Malcolm Jenkins, you could get a step on him. He was not fast, right? He was actually one of the more slower safeties in the league, if you ask me. You look at Kavon Wallace, he might not be the tackler that Malcolm Jenkins is, but, you know, he could come in and be a better coverage guy than him, which we need guys in coverage. You know, our front seven guys can tackle. We need our guys in the back end to cover and tackle, but we need them to cover and be physical. You gotta look at it from this angle. We picked up physical athletes, and even with the backup and Jalen Hurts, you know, I know a lot of people don't like to pick, but if you're gonna pick up a quarterback early, I'm just happy it's a guy that could make big plays somehow, some way. He might not be a guy that's an elite thrower, probably a solid thrower, but at least he can make big plays on a run. And he's going to hopefully get some plays and to take some hits off of Carson Wentz on a note of the QB sneaks that we go for, you know, for like on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Let Jalen Hurts do it. He's a better runner than Carson Wentz, so why not? You know, why not? And that's the main thing I was getting at, you know. The Eagles season could definitely be a disaster, but, you know, we prepare for it with how deep our roster is now. Our roster hasn't been this deep since we won the Super Bowl on the D-line. And at receivers, we have not, on the Doug Peterson era, Carson Wentz era, our receiver core has never been this deep. Some of these guys are going to have to sit on the practice squad, running the playbook, and when their number gets called, they're going to be ready and they're going to fit into our scheme. So that's the main thing I wanted to get at, you know. The Eagles season could be a disaster. Again, you know, I hope it doesn't with the injuries, but at the end of the day, I think if anything goes wrong or any position, I believe we can succeed, you know, especially with our big boys in the middle too, with Hargrave and Malik Jackson and Ridgeway. Now we could have a rotational front in the middle, and that's real Eagles football. You know, we're up there on the all-time sacks list, so even before I was born, the Eagles were always known to get after the quarterback. And, you know, that's that, you know, man. At the end of the day, you know, we're going to be good. We're going to win the division. We're going to go deep into the playoffs. Y'all should get ready for that. But just understand how deep our roster is. And don't be surprised if some no-names that you don't know of, you know, make a big splash this year, man. Fly Eagles fly, man. Thanks for tuning in, man. Catch y'all later.